Hi, my name is Samantha Mann, and my final project for Dr. Longing's class ED FD 5053 Technology for School Leaders is a school leader's blog. What is a blog? A blog is a frequently updated online personal or journal or diary. It's definitely not something you want to post once and never look at it again. It's a place where you can express yourself to the world. What are your thoughts? What are your passions? How do you feel about things that are going on in the world? Really, it's anything you want it to be. For our purposes, we'll say that it's a blog. That a blog is basically your own website that you're going to update on an ongoing basis for your school. You're going to update it on different fundraisers that are going on, different activities and events, things that pertain to your school. How to set up a blog. It's actually pretty easy. You just kind of follow directions, but you go to WordPress.com or another blog building site to start. You'll choose a site address, which mine was misssamantha.wordpress.com. If you want to upgrade it, we'll talk about that later. But then you'll go and you'll click additional information and you'll put in your email address, your name, any other things that you'd like to put on there, what type of blog it's going to be, whether it's educational, personal, those types of things. Then you'll go in and they try to get you to pay them some money. First of all, they'll ask you if you want to upgrade your site address so it doesn't have like WordPress.com. You can just have misssamantha.com or misssamantha.org, misssamantha.net. Now these cost in between $18 to $25 if you want to upgrade. After you've decided that, you'll just go in and you'll pick a theme. Now, just like with your upgrade, you can upgrade your theme and those would cost as well. There are several that are free that look professional, but that's whatever your school decides to do. You'll just continue customizing and then you're done. It really doesn't take as long as you would think unless you're a perfectionist and want everything completely perfect and detailed. Okay, so good question. Why should a school leader blog? What's the point? It's a waste of time, right? Well, a school leader is the chief representative of the school, is what Dr. Dixon says. And it's a form of regular communication. Yes, there are 20 million other different types of forms of communication, but this one is easily accessible and can be updated regularly and a good place for just parents and community members to know where to go to get the information they seek. After you've created your blog and you've got it set up, just some best practices for your blog is to make sure it's professional. You don't want it to look messy or crazy. You'll always want to keep it updated. Nobody wants to read an outdated site. Make sure it's authentic and engaging. Any of the posts that you put on there, articles that you include, make sure they're about your school. You know, you don't want to ramble off and talk about pets. You want to keep it authentic and engaging for your blog. You'll make sure it's accessible. Dr. Dixon says to make your content accessible to anyone who wants to stay informed by posting on multiple platforms. The easiest way to do this, he says, is to use multiple posting service, such as Ping.fm or TubeMongol, which automatically distributes your content to multiple platforms with only one upload. You'll also want to make sure your information is searchable by using specific keywords when you're posting to allow your visitors that are interested in just, a certain topic to be able to type in those keywords and quickly find what they're looking for. Also, tagging your videos in this way helps spread your content across the web and assisting other school leaders and building your reputation as an expert in the field. Okay, I told you we'd get to some topics to avoid, and definitely the first topic you want to avoid is politics. Controversial, no, personal opinions, controversial topics, or anything else that could get you into an argument. You do not want to be on your school's blog arguing with a parent. It is just not a good idea. Okay, so we just got done talking about topics to avoid. Now we can talk about what you can blog about. First of which, you'll want to answer any frequently asked questions. Just anything that a parent wants to ask. If it's happened several times, instead of answering that parent and then the next parent and then the next parent, go ahead and put it on your blog. Answer that question for everybody. Making announcements like when this parade is going to be that students are going to be in, football banquets, or any kind of fundraiser, anything that is an announcement for the school. You'll want to share highlights of past events, like what happened at the fair parade that the cheerleaders cheered at, how the football players made it to state, or the baseball players. You'll want to highlight those events. Now, I'm not saying stick to sports, I'm just using that as an example. Asking questions to the community. You'll always want to know what your community is thinking. Figure out what they want to know, and then answer those questions if you can. Sharing your ideas about education, and when I say education, I mean education, not your pet. Dr. Dixon also says you should talk about an interactive book talk, which is, just a different book that you can encourage parents to read or your audience to read, possibly on education in public schools or something like that, and just have people give their thoughts about that and talk about ideas and opinions and share that. Let's talk about some of the cons of using a blog. First of which, it must be updated constantly. You can't leave it for a week or two. You have to be constantly updating it. And not just with anything. You have to do it on relevant topics about your school. Next, does anyone ever read it? It's not like Facebook or Twitter where somebody gets on it every day. Is everybody going to get on your blog every day? The next is site development and maintenance. And like I said earlier, it didn't take too long to actually set up my site using a template or a blog builder site, but continuing that maintenance and making sure it always looks professional and the way you want it to can take some time. Also, it requires a lot of technical knowledge. Now, with these templates and the WordPress, I think it helps diminish that a little bit, but it requires a lot of knowledge of computers and servers and scripting language, browsers, and lots of other technological stuff. So you do have to consider that. And also, you're always vulnerable when you write on the internet because everyone can see it. And everybody's going to criticize and ridicule anything they can get their hands on. So you do have to be aware that you will receive some criticism that you may not want to hear. Okay, so I just got done mentioning that one of the cons is, would somebody read it? Next up are 9 steps to getting people to read your blog. First of which, your blog's got to rock, of course. You've got to be helpful, be unique, tell stories, quote experts, respond quickly to trends, basically just upkeep on your blog. Number 2, don't let your effort go to waste. Make sure it's searchable. We talked earlier about keyword research and making sure you have keywords so people can search your topics. Number 3, a picture paints 1,000 words. We're all visual creatures. Put some pictures on your blog. Make them more effective with text overlay. Invest in your content design, not necessarily with money, but definitely use some of your time to make it more appealing. Number 4, relationships matter. Build real relationships with people that read your blog. Build a loyal audience. Share others' content. Use social media to network and engage, not to spam. And be human. Don't be uptight. Show some personality. 5. Know your audience. Really understand what your audience wants to hear. Since you're going to be a school leader, it's going to be a school leader's blog. Make sure you're talking about stuff that's about your school. Make sure it's relevant information concerning matters that, could be very important to your readers. Number 6, get personal. Send out emails to people that you've mentioned. Talk about, if you've been at a school board meeting and you're talking about the different members that were on there, you can talk to them and email them about their suggestions that you should put on there. Collect leads from other people. Talk to different parents or people in the community about things they want to hear. Get personal and talk to the people and figure out what they want to hear about. Number 7, perform targeted distribution. Share with those who have already shared similar content. Send your content to specific targets. Reach out to influencers. Prioritize promoters. Tag and mention relevant people. Add contents when sharing. Get as much exposure as possible. So, if you have somebody else in your administration building that does a blog, share your content. Say, hey, this person said this, give it a good read. It's a good read, read it. And vice versa. Number 8, maximize the potential of social media. Everybody has social media. Share on your Facebook. People will read it. Share on Twitter. And if you're going to put it on Twitter, retweet it several times throughout the day, so it's very in their face, read me. And you can use Pinterest too. I know a lot of people are new to Pinterest as well, but that's a very good spot to do or start out as well. And last but not least, make it happen. Just do it. Take some action and get on it. Okay, just some legal guidelines to just kind of know if you're blogging. Make sure you have permission from whoever necessary when posting an image. If you post a picture of, a group of kids that went to the science fair or some kind of event, and you want to post their picture, make sure you have permission from every single one of them students and their parents. Protect readers' private information. You definitely, if you have a comment section or anything like that, you don't want for all of their information, their email, their address, their phone number, anything like that to be out there. It's just not something you want to share. If you're going to share somebody else's work, make sure you give credit where credit is due. I know there's great articles out there that we all like to share. Just make sure you let people know it's not written by you. Also, if sharing information, apparently there's some major laws. If you don't link to their homepage and you link to the specific article, it's considered a form of trespassing. So you definitely want to share information, but link it correctly to their homepage. Okay, also here are some internet safety tips for some bloggers. Definitely do not share too much personal information. You can share what you like, but really, honestly, I would not give out too much information. Consider your offline security. Make sure people can't hack you and different things like that. And if you put your home address on your blog, make sure you know that, and that, if you have a stalker, they might show up at your house. Consider the way you are perceived online. If you are considered aggressive, you might have people that confront you in an aggressive manner. Just different things you want to think about with the way you post. If you do have any kind of stalkers or, aggressive actions to you, have a plan of action. Whether you consider blocking them or shutting down your site or even, involving police authority, make sure you have a plan of action of what you plan to do. And last but not least, don't face it alone. If you do have a stalker, don't sit there and brood on it. talk to people, especially if you are a school leader and you have somebody that is, stalking you in an aggressive manner. You want to make sure people know about it and you're not the only person that is sitting there with that information. Okay, this is the end of my presentation. Thank y'all for listening. This is my bibliography. I've got several different articles that I have found online. I listed the WordPress website where I built my personal blog. Now, if you go to mine, it's really not customized, but that's the address that I used was wordpress.com. Also, I used the book that we have for this class, and it's given a lot of great information, and I got a lot of information for this on there. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or message me on this. Thank y'all for taking the time to listen to me.